Okay, this is Mike Merlin Means of Merlin Public Media, and tonight we have another episode of Our Local Music Show. Yeah, it's not the greatest title, but it's what I went with day one, and we're keeping it. And with us tonight is
Charles Neuzil.
Charles. What's up, man?
Oh, just doing my thing, having a good time playing music and making music.
I've been following from a distance the Tuesday night jazz thing.
Yeah, that's one of our latest projects. In fact, I was just thinking today. I feel like I'm about back to where I was before this virus kind of shut everything down, because I'm back to playing again 2 days a week, and we got some other things lined up to play at, some private events and things like that, and making my other kind of music, which I was doing. But this Tuesday night thing has been going really well. I'd be happy to share with you what the concept was and how that all came about.
I'm rather curious because, as you know, I don't get out all that much anymore. But yes, tell me about it.
Well, roundabout, I'd say about a month ago, maybe. It was over like around Christmas time. Leonard Interior, who's local musician,
Yeah, I know Leonard.
Yeah, I figured you'd know Leonard. Leonard had got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing like an evening at Black Mountain Bistro?" And we were talking about Tuesday evenings, where we could unity if they were interested in playing some jazz. And he also had contacted Rebecca Diaz, who is a vocalist here in town, really good.
Yeah, she's excellent.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful voice, and she can sing, and she scats too. So she.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she knows her stuff. Before everything got shut down with this virus, her and I would work together, and I'd be on the horn. We'd have some backing tracks, and she'd be singing, and we'd trade off and back and forth, and it was really enjoyable. And so it was really neat. So anyway, so Leonard did. The idea was the three of us, which he said there's not a lot of people in town that play jazz, and he knew Rebecca sings it, I play it, and of course he plays it, and he felt there was a need because there's just not a lot of venues for that.
That's true.
And so we started talking about it, and we were going to plan on getting it going in February. But Kyle over at the restaurant was talking to some people, and it was telling them we were going to start playing on Tuesday, like a month ago, Tuesday. And so on a Monday night, Leonard had sent me a note and said, "Hey, Kyle said we're going to be there tomorrow night. So I guess we're going to be there tomorrow night." And so I brought my speaker and mixer and all that set up, and mics and things. And so it's kind of evolved over January, where we're kind of getting in a groove, and we've had a couple people come already to sit in. Over the last couple of weeks, Fred Zinn, who used to play with Tracy Wybeck on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Black Mountain. Fred Zinn is come and sat in for the past 3 Tuesdays. There's another fella named M who plays guitar really well. He was there last week playing some jazz guitar. Ross Live, Ross was there last night, which was kind of fun because Ross, Fred, and Leonard were playing together, the three of them. So it was kind of neat. We got some cool pictures of that. And there were a couple other people over the past couple of weeks. We got a friend who plays alto sax. I told him about it, and he'll probably come in and play a few tunes with us. So yeah, it's something that's kind of evolving, and it seems to be well received. There's people that have really enjoyed being there and listening to the music, gotten a lot of good feedback, and so yeah, it's been a good time so far.
It sounds like it. I was really excited to see a jazz night any place in the area. It just made me happy. So that's Tuesday nights at
Yeah, it's Tuesday nights. We've been doing that from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
uh-huh.
And the way it's been, uh, and it seems to be working out pretty good. Like I say, it's kind of evolving as far as the logistics, but what I'm doing is rushing out of work, and I have everything packed up and ready to go so I can run home, get all the equipment, get over there, get set up, and then at 5 o'clock, I kind of open it up and start doing my thing, which is playing jazz. Just basically what I do at Tasa Coffee Shop on Saturdays, and so I kind of start things off, and then Rebecca will get there after work, and then she'll come up and sing a few with me, and then Leonard will get there. So usually within that first hour, the three of us are all there, and then after that first hour, there's usually like Fred was already there, so then we start trading off and doing some other things, and then we kind of finished off the evening, the last half hour, the three of us, Leonard, Rebecca, and me. We kind of played out the last half hour and did some things to close it out. So
it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable. Been really fun. Met some neat people. It's been fun to play there again. It's a nice place to do that.
It is. And then Saturdays you're doing.
Yeah, every Saturday I'm at Tasa Coffee and Cafe, which I play from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., like over lunchtime.
Yeah.
Which kind of mirrors what I used to do at Black Mountain a couple of years ago, because Tasa is only open on weekends. They're open like 8 to 5, 6 o'clock or something like that, and so I play during the day there, and I've been doing that over a year and a half now, and so it's been going on for a while.
I'm not real familiar with that place. Whereabouts is it?
It is, yeah, I was going to mention to you where it's at in case people want to check it out.
Absolutely.
She had, Jade Mallory is the owner, and I've known Jade for years. I mean, probably 15, 16 years now. So I had that connection, and she's a really wonderful person, great family. And she had started with a coffee cart, believe it or not, at Valley View Hospital.
Oh, okay.
You know who you probably might know who I'm talking about now.
Now I know who you're talking about, because that was like some of the best coffee I ever had.
Yep. And she went from the coffee cart to shop, and she had a shop over on Highway 95, right by Lizzie's Kitchen, in that same complex where Lizzie's Kitchen is.
Okay.
Everybody knows where Lizzie's Kitchen is.
Yep.
And she was on the opposite end. It was small. It wasn't the best place to play in, but I'd get there and move some furniture and get set up and play. And I used to have to kind of compete with the espresso machines, which was kind of fun. Just kind of work.
They are a bit loud.
Yeah, they can be. But she moved in November. She was able to finally open up the new shop and close the old one, the small one. And she is down just north of Aztec Road on the east side of Highway 95. People familiar with the area there, there's a McDonald's right on the corner, then the CVS pharmacy, and then there's a car lot, and then she's in the next building, which is originally was the National Bank of Arizona. That's where she's at, in that building.
Okay.
It's really nice. I mean, I have talked to a few people that have been there now. Well, a number of people have been there, and they've been really impressed. She's done really well with it. I mean, it's really nice. It's very upscale. It's spacious. It's large. It's a great place to play in. It's big enough that I don't have to compete with espresso machines anymore.
Bonus.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I'd encourage anybody that hasn't been there to check it out. And she's got great food. The beverages are excellent, as you know, mentioned about
That I know.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, it's really nice, and she's gonna have a drive-up window too. She's got that's in the works.
I know that's great. That should do wonders for her business.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what's going on in your personal music? Because I know that's not entirely jazz related.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things going on. I have I kind of have this, I guess you call it a alter ego or alias or whatever. I do this electronic music, and I do that on the side as well. The horn takes priority certainly in some of the
Yes.
local projects what I'm doing, but I spend time working on the electronic music, and I have managed, since we talked last time, I've managed to get a couple done. I was working and still am working on a series of tracks inspired by the writings of Franz Kafka. And I think when we talked last time, I had two finished, and since then I finished a third based upon his short story called "In the Penal Colony," and that one is done. So I've got three now. So that's starting to shape up to a nice collection that I'll keep building. I also did another space ambient track. I finished that I called it Beacon in Space, mainly because it revolves around a beacon. There's kind of an interesting backstory. I've got a YouTube video that I put up on that one where I kind of did some subtext there to tell the story on it, as far as where the idea came from. The music itself, it's about almost 10 minutes long, and it kind of follows a literary form found in ancient texts where the climax is in the middle, as opposed to a lot of when we read a book or watch a movie, it's usually at the end. And so
I've not heard of that before, so this is interesting.
Yeah, in fact, the flood story in the Bible follows the same form, literally.
Okay, got it.
Right in the middle of that story, there's a line that says, "And God remembered Noah." And that's like right in the middle, and that's the highlight. That's like the high point in the text. So, but I finished that one. That was a lot of fun to put together, and I was happy with that one. I took that one. I started a Bandcamp page. I put that one on Bandcamp, and I'm going to put those Kafka tracks as a three track EP on Bandcamp. That'll be next, and put all these things on SoundCloud as well. And I started a Mixcloud page as well. And then I do have a weekly newsletter that I put out every Friday. Just, hey, this is what's happening this week, and I talk about all of these things and keep people up to date who are interested. And anybody that wants to do that, they can email me at charlesneuzelmusic@gmail.com, and I'll get you on the list. In fact, I'll be working on this week's tonight and tomorrow, get it out on Friday. So that's and then I continue my lessons too. I give music lessons to kids and adults. I kind of have that limited right now to just a few, just because of my work. I can't do everything like I would like to.
Yeah.
So I had a adult trombone student who was a music teacher down in Mesa, and his schedule got kind of askew, so we haven't been working together for a while here. But I do have a local trumpet student who'll be going into high school next year, and so I've been working with him on the trumpet. So it's kind of improved my trumpet skills too, which has been kind of nice.
Always great when you can work on yourself.
Oh yeah, it kind of was a little side benefit and byproduct of that. I just started getting much better on the trumpet. Not sure I would necessarily pursue that heavily, but it's there.
Just what all do you play? Just because, well, I'm curious.
Well, like the trombone, and there's a couple different. I do have an alto trombone, which is it looks like a smaller trombone, is what it looks like. Um, it is an instrument by itself. Like, so if you played trombone, you couldn't just pick up an alto trombone and play it. So it's like learning a new instrument.
Uh-huh.
So I have an alto trombone that I play. I also mentioned the trumpet. I also have euphonium, which is really cool. I have it's a King euphonium. It's a 4-valve. It's non-compensating euphonium as opposed to a compensating euphonium, and that just has to do with the way the valves are set up. And it's just a really cool sounding instrument. It's conical as opposed to like the trombone. All the tubing is circular, it's round. Whereas the euphonium is conical, so it has a different shape, more of an oval shape and so it has this really nice sound. So I have plans to work some things into that, or into what I do with the euphonium, and maybe the trumpet. I'm not sure. I also have a number of synthesizers that I use, and I have been taking a couple on occasion with me to the coffee shop. I always say my last hour is kind of my experimental hour. So I will play the synthesizer. I usually take one. I have one that I'll bring most of the time. And I'll play that, and with some sequences on it, either play it. It's got not a full keyboard. It's a smaller, shorter keyboard, but you can go up and down on the octaves. So I'll play that on some of the tunes, and then have some sequences on there, so I can be playing the synthesizer and the trombone at the same time with the different backing tracks and things like that. So that's always fun to experiment with. And I've also been running the trombone through some different guitar pedals to get some different sounds and effects. And right now, you mentioned some of my other projects. I have another space ambient track that I'm working on, but another one, when I mentioned the trombone with the pedals and things, I've got these drone projects that I've been working on. They're all electronic, and that's part of it, running the horn through these pedals, not just reverb pedals, but some delay, and then also distortion. I've got another one that it's this blue box that'll do an octave on it, and a wah-wah pedal as well, which is something many years ago I always wanted to try and start working with, and so I'm finally starting to do that. I guess everything takes a while.
Yeah, sometimes, the arts kind of frequently take second base to life, and we get back to them, and we carry on, and we pick up where we left off. And as long as we're doing our art, it doesn't matter. I mean, we have to keep doing it no matter what it is. It keeps us alive.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you mentioned that, for a couple reasons. It's with the music, I play the music, but I have this I'm highly interested in the arts in terms of what they are and what they do for us, and for humanity for that matter. And then the whole creative process, why it's even there, and what that does for us as human beings. And you're right, life does kind of get in the way with work and things of that nature. But every night I come home, even if I'm tired, I'm working on music every night, anywhere from hour and a half to 2 or 3 hours, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, I think that the arts are important in terms of humanity and the advancement of humanity. I remember seeing some things with some of the totalitarian governments in the last century that kind of stamped out the arts, and how things just devolved, and it makes us who we are.
There's a very popular song in the rock genre about that entire concept. 2112 by Rush.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was
discovers a guitar, and then the powers that be say, no, you don't need that.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I listen to a lot of different music. People are always surprised at some of the things I'll listen to, but I was always a big Rush fan, believe it or not. It's wasn't all about jazz. I get ideas from all kinds of music, and I'm constantly listening. Even hip hop, whatever. I mean, I've gotten great ideas from a lot of different areas, different genres.
And what a lot of people miss with Rush is the music is mind-bogglingly complex.
Yeah.
This is not simple, 3-4 chord stuff. This is amazing layer upon layer upon layer.
Yeah.
And I love those guys.
Yeah, no, definitely. They did some really, really cool stuff. I even have a VST. It's a low down bass synthesizer from Cherry Audio, but it is the VST emulation, if you will, of the foot pedal, the bass pedal that they used or Rush used.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've used it on some of the tracks I've created. It has some really cool sounds on it.
Okay, so what else is in the works? I remember you briefly mentioning something that you haven't mentioned yet, and if you don't want to bring it up, I'm not going to push you, but you did mention something.
Oh, what was that? I can't even. I get so many irons in the fire. Sometimes I lose track of things.
Are you spending some time with the Pit Orchestra?
Oh, yes. See, there's some more. You started to remind me some other things going on. Yeah, there's Mojave High School. They're going to have another musical this spring. They're going to do Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I love that show. I don't like a lot of musicals.
It is. I was watching a video from it was on YouTube, and it was the show that university, I can't remember where it was, put the show on, and it's the same music that the high school will have, and it's really is pretty cool. Miss Rivlin, the band director over there, had sent me a note back in, I think it was in December, asking me if I'd want to go ahead and jump in on that. And so we're going to start rehearsals Mondays and Thursdays as soon as they get the music in.
Yeah.
Which I guess they have to rent the music, and then you only have it for a limited time. So yeah.
You rent the music, you rent the books, and everything goes back.
Yeah. And you got to make sure you don't mark it up and mess it up.
Yeah.
And then, or if you mark it up, erase it. And then, but so I'm sure we'll start that in February. April 20th, I believe Thursday, April 20th is the opening night of the play. And so I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. That's always really enjoyable. And
that's a great show.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be good. And I also coincidentally met one of the cast members. He's a Mojave High School student. We were at one of the the most recent Colorado River Concert Association concerts. We had, I met one of the high school students there. He was an usher. And I talked to everybody. And I started talking.
Yeah.
Found out he's going to play one of the lead roles in the musical. So we had a really nice talk. So that's something in the works. I did play. Oh yeah, I think since we talked last time, I played at the reception for the Black Mountain Art Show, which was
I
I want
saw
to say
that.
November. Yeah, and I had played there before for I think 3 years before the virus kind of came
Yes.
about, and so I had played there, and they liked it so much they've already asked me to come back next November, and so I
Wow.
put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
Um, so that's always an enjoyable experience and a lot of fun. The Artist Guild is just filled with really cool people. They do great work with the local, a lot of local schools and students, and so that's definitely a cool group.
So are they like painting or painting, sculpture, pottery? What all do they cover?
They just about everything at the show this year, which was a little smaller. It's at the 600 building at MCC, and
Right.
it was a little smaller than past years. You know, usually the whole room would be filled with different art, and almost the whole room was filled, but you know, it was noticeably smaller. The back wall didn't have anything on it this time, but it runs the gamut from painting, different types of painting, sculpture. There's been like ironwork type thing there.
Ooh.
Um, just all kinds of different things. Pottery. Just trying to think of different things that I saw that day. So yeah, a lot of neat stuff. Lynn Gamble is a local artist. She had some works on display there. I always liked her work, and I got to see her after the reception and got to spend some time talking with her because I used to talk with her and her husband a lot when they would do the Saturday afternoon art classes at Black Mountain Bistro. I would finish up playing and they'd come in and set up and do their classes once a month. And so that was nice to talk to her because I have hanging on my wall now a painting she did that was hanging in Black Mountain Bistro in the fall when her work was on display, and she painted me playing on the stage there.
Oh wow, that's cool.
It is phenomenal. I'll send you a picture, Mike. A picture of the painting. How's that?
Okay.
So you can see it, and it is. Yeah, when you see it, you're going to be like, "Holy cow!" And Jennifer, who was a server at Black Mountain, had sent me a message one day, and she said, "Hey, you're on the wall here. You know, you need to." And she sent me a picture of it, so I went down there to check it out. And I thought, "Wow, that's really cool." And of course, it was for sale, you know, and but it wasn't inexpensive. So it's kind of a neat story because my wife and mother had found out about it and went down to the restaurant and to inquire about it, and it was on the wall. But Cece there, Sierra, her and Kyle own the restaurant. She had bought the painting, I guess, because she didn't want to let it go. She had a hunch that somebody would be there for it, like my mom and my wife. And so they were able to get it, and they kind of surprised me for Christmas with that painting. So that was really neat. So
that is cool.
I got my corner bedroom studio here, and it's now hanging on the wall above where I work and make music. So I'll send you a picture of that, Mike.
That'd be neat.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's. Oh, and then I also have. I played a Thanksgiving dinner in Needles in November, and they loved what I do so much. They're having me back for a Valentine's Day party down there on Saturday the 11th. A private party down there. So I'm looking forward to that. They were really cool people, and they seem to like what I do. I mean, what I do with the horn, it's not. I mean, everybody's not going to like it. You know what I mean? And that's not
well,
what.
Yeah, any art form.
Yeah, but it sure seems to resonate with certain people. There was somebody even at Black Mountain last night. We were talking here on Wednesday, so last night we were at I think it was our fourth jazz session, and he was just really enjoyed the the music that I was playing, because I play a lot of ballads, jazz ballads, and slower tempos, not kind of mellow kind of stuff. And he just loved it. He started talking about how he had found, older fella, but he had discovered Chet Baker, and started talking about Chet Baker, and so I said, yeah. So he's going to come down to the coffee shop probably in 2 weeks. I said, yeah, come on down. I said, well, yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
Music is that language that defines description for the listener. It either resonates with you and makes you more comfortable, or it opens your eyes, or it brings back memories, but it just kind of creeps into your soul and brings out something. And without it, I can't imagine a day without it. I just, and of course I've got this radio station here, so I don't have a day without it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things that, like we were talking about with the arts, is it makes us more human. And, the visual arts are, okay, I like them, but the audio arts, the music, you can just wrap yourself in it no matter what you're doing. You can be working, you can be, I go to sleep to music, I wake up to music. It's just, I don't know, it just gets inside there and brings something out. And yeah, I love it.
I agree with you, Mike. There's something about who we are as human beings, and it's a part of us. This is something that I can probably go on and ad infinitum about, but you look at different cultures, and not just modern culture, but what we know about ancient culture even, and music has always been present. I mean, they found, as far as some of the archaeological digs, I mean, they've found what is clearly different types of musical instruments that, like we're talking about 12,000, 15,000 years old. And that doesn't mean there weren't things before. And then if you look at a lot of the cultures, how rhythm and song is just part of their experience, and different rituals and things of that nature. And even, even going deeper, I mean, I think it was in the late 40s, early 50s. The name escapes me. I'd have to look it up. But there was a professor at he had a physicist. He had, as part of an assignment in class, he kind of accidentally backed into discovering this pulse of the planet. There's like this fundamental pulse that resonates at about 8 hertz. And then right after that, in the 50s, the one neuroscientist who was doing some brain studies, he discovered that our brains have these waves, and that's where you hear about alpha wave, the alpha wave in your brain. Mm-hmm. And that was the alpha, because that was the first one he discovered, and then there was a beta. But the alpha wave happened to match up with the same frequency that this physicist discovered was pulsing the planet.
Wow.
And then to extrapolate that further, I just kind of did this on a whim, but I started to do the math, because another thing I'm really into is sound and how it affects us. And so I've been really into that, even with the music I create, the audio part, the technical parts of it. And so I looked at it and kind of ran the numbers, and that fundamental pulse of the planet, when you do the math, it matches up with the same frequency that that sacred sound, Om.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and then to go even further, don't ask me how I make these connections. My wife, she'll look at me sometimes and say, "How did you think of that?" But I remember I used to play, I haven't played it in a while, but I used to play the Coltrane tune Equinox quite a bit. Most of what you see out there, like lead sheets and stuff, and there's backing tracks or whatever, it's in the key of C minor, which is okay. But Coltrane played it in C sharp minor. I always wondered, why C sharp minor? And then why Equinox? Well, it turns out Coltrane was born either on or right at the I think it was the vernal equinox, I think, or either the one in the fall or one in the spring. I can't remember which one. And so that's where the equinox came from. But I thought C sharp minor. Well, if you take that frequency, that fundamental pulse of the planet, which then is the same, if you run up this octaves to that ohm, that is C sharp. And he had an interest in a lot of Eastern religions towards the end of his life, and he did a lot of studying with different things at the time. And I'm convinced that C sharp minor for equinox, I think he chose that on purpose, but I'm just surmising.
Well, and it's kind of hard to ask him, so let's just kind of run with it, because if it pencils out, it pencils out.
Some interesting coincidences, right?
Yeah, but I think most coincidences can be backtracked to cause.
Yeah.
I'm not a big believer in coincidences. I'm having a hard time even saying the word. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everything's connected in some fashion, and I don't think it was just random that it was, like, for instance, when he wrote Equinox, I don't think it was random that he chose C sharp minor. I think it was deliberate, and I think it was intentional.
We don't often give, and don't take this wrong, please.
Yeah.
We don't often give musicians, we don't view them as being really, well, deep. They're musicians, they're making music. But when you get into the greats, there's always something more there. No, these people are, they're geniuses. They're ahead of their time. They've got a clue about things that most people just don't. And again, this is why we have, the same as in any other realm, we have masters. They see what we don't.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And then just, we were talking about Coltrane. He was clearly a genius. There was no doubt about it. And not that there's not others. I'm just mentioning a few. But I was listening to album called Portrait in Jazz by Bill Evans. And Bill Evans is another one. That guy was just an absolute genius. And, you listen to, I can listen to what these guys did, and I'll find something new every time I listen. Like, I was listening to Bill Evans playing Autumn Leaves, and I was hearing things I never heard before, and I've listened to it before. It's amazing. Just phenomenal.
That's a sign of a great composition. And I go back to, and I'm, as you know, I'm more of a rock guy.
Yeah.
But there's an album by Yes called Tales from Topographic Oceans.
Yeah.
And they call their lyrics stream of consciousness. They don't say anything per se.
Yeah.
But every time I listen to any of the 4 songs on that, I leave with something different.
And that's what's cool. There's some things like that are timeless. Like, you can listen to that now and still take something away that's new.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that. Yeah, and I think that it appears in all kinds of different genres of music, and some are more popular than others. There's some people out there that just you've never heard of before. I stumble upon people. Oh my, it's amazing, Mike. the technology we have now has it's almost democratized the music industry because
It
everybody.
has.
Yeah, I mean, I got a Bandcamp page now. I can put it out. Well, okay, so I'm not making a mint off of this, but hey, you don't have to. I mean, if it resonates with a few people, that's great. There's a cello player, and I found some phenomenal people as a result. I would never, back in this, and you and I are about the same age. So, back in the 70s, the way you found new music was really one of three ways. And if I'm missing any, let me know. But
Okay.
one of three ways, you hear it on the radio.
Okay.
And if you're looking for jazz, there weren't a lot of jazz stations in Phoenix at the time. There was a jazz station called KXTC, which in the 77 or so, they sold out and changed to a country station, but they gave all their record albums to the local NPR station.
Oh, nice.
And so the local NPR station picked it up, and they would play jazz during the day and then later in the evening. Radio, and if you were listening to something else, like whether it was rock or whatever, that's where you'd find from the radio. Or friends, hey,
Yeah.
you need to hear this latest Eric Dolphy record. It's great. Or this, the Gabrielli, I think it was a Cincinnati, the brass from the Cincinnati Orchestra or whatever. And so, okay, that's one way. Or you go down to the record shop and you would just start pawing through the records.
Many an hour.
Yeah, and you would find something that, oh, look at this. And you'd flip it over, and there would be something that would say, hey, I'm going to get this and take it home and listen. I want to check it out. And the difference, though, was you take that record home and you listen to it, and you listen to it. You wouldn't just skip through the song like
right.
you do. You'd listen to the whole record, and then you flip it over, listen to the other side. And if you didn't like it, you listen to it again because you wanted to find something about it. Something drew you to it to begin with. And after maybe sometimes even the third or fourth time, you start to see things and hear things. And oh, okay, I'm getting it. But now it's way different. And you can find stuff that we would never have found then. And this is an example. There's a cellist in Sweden. His name's Henrik Meyercord. He does the coolest stuff. I mentioned the space ambient stuff I do, and he does these a lot of ambient and drone work with the cello. Same kind of thing coincidentally that I do with the horn, where running it through some different pedals. He works with synthesizers and things. Just phenomenal stuff. And I would never have discovered him absent the technology we have now.
It's and just about anybody can afford a beginner's studio. There's enough out there that's free. Grab a couple of cheap mics, and a little input, and try it. There's no reason not to. You may just be having fun, and who knows? You could just take off, and next thing you know, you're like touring. But technology is given life to music, and it's given freedom to musicians. You don't have to have a label that you have to prove yourself to and then make the next record the way they want it. You just make your music.
Yeah, no, it's and it is a lot different. You mentioned some different things going on. I had been I knew this, or got to know this trombone player younger than me. He was, I think he just graduated from Juilliard at the time. This goes back about 10, 12 years ago. And just got in contact with him. He was in New York at the time. And just kind of corresponded with him over the years and kind of watched what he's been doing. And he's really done a lot. He's had a number of albums out now since then. He's currently a professor at North Texas State. which is a phenomenal jazz school. That's where we all wanted to go. One of us did go. There's a drummer that I used to play with, and he did end up going to North Texas State. And I mentioned the Colorado River Concert Association. The first concert of this called the Side Street Strutters. It's one of the bands at Disneyland, like Dixieland and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I actually worked with them when I was doing lighting for the concert association.
All right. Well, I'm sitting there, and during the concert, they mentioned, people that did solos. They, oh, that's so and so on trumpet, and that's so and so on whatever, and that's so and so on drums. And I'm thinking, did he say what I thought he said? And I listened again closer. Next time they rattled some things off, and they said, yeah, that's Dick Weller on drums. And I thought, well, how many Dick Wellers are there? So after the concert, I went up on the stage there because he was taking down his kit, and I said, Dick Weller? And he looks at me, Dick Weller Mesa? And he gets this big smile on his face. I hadn't seen him. It'd been like 45 years.
Wow.
And here he is in Bullhead City playing with these guys.
Wow.
And it's like, holy cow. Anyway, long-winded way of getting around to this, but this guy, Nick Finzer, who plays trombone, he contacted me first part of December. He's got another tour scheduled where he's going to be out west, and he's got I think he's coming with an octet this time. I don't know if he's going to have a quintet. No, I think he's going to do a quintet, but he's going to play the music that anyway. He's going to be in Los Angeles, and then he's going to Phoenix, going to play at the Nash in Phoenix. And he said, hey, we have a day or two in between. And he said, there's this grant. And the idea of the grant is that it will provide funding so that areas that don't get that kind of music, the jazz with what he plays, can experience it. And he said, I thought of you, because he knows where I'm at. We're here in Bullhead City. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, yeah, man, that'd be great. And so we quickly went back and forth, and I got him the information, and he was able to get the grant submitted because there was so if that all works out, he will be here in town with his band, and they'll do some education with the kids during the day. Mm-hmm. And a lot like what happens with the concert association. I told him about, Mojave High School and what we can do, and we can bring in some of the other, I know all the band directors, like I know Miss Erblin over at Malk, I know Miss Ryland at Mojave, and some of the other, the elementaries and junior highs, whatever, and get as many of the students in there as we can. And then that night they would do a performance. Well, it happens to be the opening night of the play, so it's not going to take place at the high school auditorium.
No, I guess not.
But if it all happens, we'll find another place for them to play, and it might even be a Black Mountain Bistro for all I know.
Well, it could be. You can put a 4-piece up there pretty easy.
Yeah. We played with Keith, who used to sing when we had that little band backing him up. We played in there a couple times.
Yep.
And we were able to cram into the front pretty good, although Jose pretty much hogged up that stage with his drums. But
well, yeah, he has a way. Well, drummers have a way of doing that. That's just how they are. They're greedy.
Yeah, but it was okay because Jose was really cool. So what Jose?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he really is. But yeah, so that'll be really neat if that happens. That's another thing that I had kind of got in the middle of, and so yeah, a lot going on. I plan on retiring from my current job in June. This is a second career for me. Each career spanned about 20 years worth. Uh-huh. And so I'm going to hang it up. And I started thinking the other day, it came to me, well, I guess I can start on my third career, which is what I wanted to do to begin with, which was the music. Uh-huh. So I'll be spending a lot more time on it.
That'd be great. That'd be absolutely great. And rumor has it you're going to send some music over that I can share with these good people who are listening?
Yeah, I'm going to send you my Beacon and Space Ambient track. That one's a little lengthier. If people want to listen to that, what I encourage you to do with that one is just sit back and enjoy the ride. Okay. It's one of those that I did some research on on music and duration. There was somebody in the early 60s that did some interesting research on that. So I'm kind of trying to go for that 10-minute plus range on some of these. But that would, yeah. And if you got headphones, throw in some headphones. That'll be
Okay.
And then the other one is that my Kafka piece, Pendulate. That one is that's pretty interesting too. I think I got some vocals in there that were samples. Was not me singing. And I didn't hire anybody. It wasn't Rebecca or anything, although I probably one of these days I'll get Rebecca to do some stuff. But I got some vocals in there that I used from some samples on a loop cloud.
Okay.
Which is kind of a neat thing. I've been using that some for few things. But everything on there is all sounds I created on different synthesizers I have, except for that one vocal. And same thing with Beacon in Space. That's all mostly with VSTs and the software synths. And again, if you got headphones, that'd be the way to go. So I'll send those to you. I spend a lot of time on those. I don't just say I'm going to do this week. I mean, I'll spend a lot of time, and I would say 95. I read a book of interviews that Steve Reich had, and Steve Reich, and he talked about 95% of what he does ends up on the floor in the trash. And that's kind of the way I am. I mean, what I end up with is nothing like what I start with. I spend a lot of time trying to craft these things into something special. So, but I'll do that. I'll send them over to you. I just converted those to the MP3s for you, so I'll send them over.
Okay, as we start to unwind here, and I need to go back and find my oxygen, how can people find you and follow you?
Oh, well, the easiest way is if you just simply do charlesneuzilmusic.com. If you just look up Charles Neuzil Music, you Google it, you'll see the website come up, and that's Charles, name Charles. Neuzil is N like November, E-U, Z like zebra, I-L like Larry. So Charles Neuzil Music. And I have a website that I have a bunch of buttons there that'll take you to my Bandcamp page, SoundCloud page, Instagram, Facebook page, all that stuff. And I also have a schedule. I keep a schedule of about a month ahead, so you'll know where to find me, whether it's at the coffee shop or now Black Mountain, or if there's any private events or other things going on, like the art show. And so that'll be there. Or if I'm not going to be there, I'll make a note of that too. So if you do that way, if you are looking for me, you're not going to show up on the one rare day that maybe I won't be there.
Yeah.
And then you can always email me, same thing, charlesneuzilmusic@gmail.com. That's an easy way if you just want to email me and get in touch with me for something. But those are probably the two quickest and easiest ways to get to me and to my music.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Charles, so very much for sharing some time and music with us.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate, and I'm honored that you even asked me to do this here again. I think it's really cool what you're doing and promoting the local music. There's so much talent locally, and from whether it's the high school kids all the way up to people in their 80s that I found. And I just think it's great what you're doing, and it's a great service you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of the evening, and thanks so much.
You as well. And I will talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Mike.
Good night.
All right. Bye.